Hi everyone and welcome or welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today I want to do my updated top 10 for life. Oh my god, you guys, it was so hard to choose only 10 fragrances. I couldn't, so I decided to add an honorable mention category. I cannot just choose 10 fragrances for the rest of my life because I was lucky enough to find so many fragrances that I love, that I don't know, like they wake up something within me. They awaken something within me every time I smell them. Some fragrances I'm emotionally connected to them. Some fragrances I just love to wear them on a day-to-day basis. So I just couldn't choose just 10. So yes, so I decided to start with the honorable mention category. Here I include the fragrances that are unfortunately discontinued. Due to one reason or another, let's just say I cannot find them anymore because or I also decided to include certain fragrances that, even though I love how they smell and I would definitely want to have them in my collection forever, maybe they're not really the most worn fragrances, you know? So yes, you guys, by the way, before I start, please share with me your top 10 fragrances for life, or if you don't have 10, your top 5, I don't know, if you have more than 10, your top 20. I feel like, realistically speaking, I have 20 fragrances in my collection that are like my true love, you know, that I would like reach for them like with my eyes closed, and ideally I feel like as I move along in this fragrance journey, let's say, I would like to size down my collection. I would like to only have fragrances that truly resonate with me, that truly make me happy when I smell them. I want something that, you know, I can choose like with my eyes closed, any fragrance from my collection, and I know that it suits me, that I love wearing it. Doesn't matter if it's a gourmand fragrance or if it's a heavy Middle Eastern fragrance, but everything that I decide to keep in my collection, ideally I would really want that fragrance to work for me, for my taste, for my style, for my energy, you know. I'm not the kind of person that I choose fragrances to wear based on rules or based on seasons or based on times of the day or based on anything else, honestly. I'm the kind of person, I don't believe in rules. First of all, when it comes to fragrances, I've said it and I will say it again, to me fragrance is art, and when it comes to art there are no rules, you guys. You can legit wear whatever makes you happy. Like if you're a woman and you love wearing the most masculine fragrance out there, but that fragrance really awakes this fire within you, then wear it and don't feel bad. Wear it with confidence, you know. So I genuinely don't believe in this kind of rules, you know. So this is why I tend to wear the same fragrances kind of all year round. Of course, if I were to say how I choose fragrances, I choose fragrances based on my mood and based on my energy. Let's just say maybe one day I'm feeling very, I don't know, very feminine, very dainty. Maybe I want something a bit soft. Next day, maybe I'm feeling very like bossy and confident and, I don't know, very extroverted. I'm choosing a fragrance based on that energy, you know. I feel like I choose fragrances, like I've said, based on my mood, based on the energy that I have, based on the energy that I want to have, let's say, you know. So these are, I feel like, the criteria. I decided to include this here in case you are new to my channel. By the way, in case you are new, welcome. I saw that our community is slowly but surely growing and I'm very happy to see that. Welcome. So yes, I decided to include these aspects in case maybe certain people are new here and they didn't get, let's just say, a chance to hear me talk about my style when it comes to fragrances. I feel like I love vanillas, I love spices, and I love rose. And honestly, when I think of vanilla, spices and rose, that's like my favorite fragrance, but a rose that does rose justice, you know. I also love resinous balsamic fat satin fragrances. I also love gourmand fragrances. I love coffee. I love sugar in fragrances. Oh my gosh, sugar is an accord. I wanted to say note, but it's an accord that I've been loving so much lately. But yeah, without further ado, let's just begin with the honorable mentions. And the first fragrance that I want to mention, you guys, it's a fragrance that has been unfortunately discontinued, but if this fragrance, it wouldn't have been discontinued, this would have been my number one in my top 10 for life. This fragrance is called Sajaya Gold from Junaid Perfumes. I have this bottle, then I have only one Becca bottle left, and then that's done. I don't know what I will do after, but hopefully I will discover something similar. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully. Yeah, this, guys, I cannot even begin to tell you how much love I have for this fragrance. This fragrance smells like me. I feel like people close in my life remember me by this fragrance, honestly. Three bottles. Two for sure. I think three, you guys. Oh my god. I think I used 3 full bottles of this fragrance. Wow. Wow, yes. And I have two left. I mean, this one and another one. Yeah, this is the most beautiful. You know, when I said in the beginning that I love rose, that I love spices, and that I love vanilla, you have all of them here. This smells, imagine a beautiful, sensual red rose smell with lots of cinnamon, like cinnamon drizzle, not drizzle because it's sprinkled everywhere on top of that rose, with a beautiful full-bodied vanilla that feels slightly fumé, so it exudes this almost like a bit of a smoky something, but not like ashy smoky, like I've said, like imagine you were to burn a little bit of vanilla pod, you know, and it exudes that slight smoky fumé effect and some resinous facets, but the resinous facets are there to support the fragrance. This is sweet, this is spicy, but sweet and spicy. This smells exotic, this smells sensual, this smells, oh, I love this fragrance, honestly. I love this fragrance, and I am so upset that I didn't get a chance to buy more Becca bottles of this fragrance, because now I cannot find it anywhere, honestly. By the way, if you know some places where I can still find this fragrance, please tell me, because honestly, like if they were to bring this one back, I would be the first one to buy 10 bottles, like no joke. Okay, so this next fragrance is a fragrance that I love how it smells, but I can't say that I wear it the most often. I can say that I wear it often. This is Black Orchid from Tom Ford. It's still the first bottle that I have. I haven't finished it, but I love how this one smells like. But I wear it when I'm in a specific mood, like when I'm in a certain mood, like I crave this fragrance, and at the same time I couldn't picture my fragrance collection without it. And with this fragrance, let me tell you a little story with this. So I feel like when I was around 13 years old, that's when I discovered my passion for makeup, and I started to watch YouTube tutorials all day long after school. This is what I was doing. I was coming home, I was doing my homework, I was eating, and then I was in front of the mirror with my very small makeup collection back then, which most of it was like gifted by my older cousins, because I have lots of older cousins. And when they saw that I started to become very into makeup, one gifted me an eyeliner, one gifted me a mascara, one gifted me a palette, you know, because my mother, she didn't really encourage me to wear makeup at that age. She told me that I was too young, you know. And I mean, honestly, I was young at that age. But the thing is, I started to watch tons of makeup tutorials, and I used to practice makeup in the mirror for like hours and hours and hours every day. Different looks with the cheapest of glitters, you know. Yeah, I was the kind of friend that before I would go out with I would go to like, I don't know, to the mall to watch a movie at the cinema with my closest friends. We used to all gather at one of my friends' houses. Because her mother, she was very into makeup, and she did have lots of makeup, and I was that friend who was doing eyeliner on all of them, you know. I did it for me and I did it for them, but it was that really cheap eyeliner that if you could peel it off from here, you know. And if, let's just say, the rain, like you were out and it was raining, and if the rain like dropped on your face or touched your face or anything like this, that eyeliner would like legit peel off. It would peel off like glue. I don't know, it was very weird. It was very cheap. But since I started to learn how to do makeup, I was practicing on my mother, on my aunts, on my brother even. On my friends, on my cousins. I started to do makeup, let's just say, like that was my hobby back then, makeup. And like I've said, I had lots of older cousins, and when I was around 13, they were at that age where they would go to lots of weddings, you know, so I used to do their makeup for weddings. And I remember one time I used to do makeup for this specific cousin of mine, and her husband, yeah, his signature scent back then, it was Black Orchid. And I remember as I was like doing the last finishing touches on her, like he came in the room, he sprayed this fragrance everywhere on him. And you guys, when I smelled this fragrance, I don't know, like I was so shocked, because I felt in that moment that I've never in my life smelled a fragrance that's more beautiful than this fragrance. And keep in mind, I was 13 back then, like I had no fragrance knowledge, but I remember when I smelled this fragrance, I have fallen in love with that fragrance. And then every time I would go to their place, I would ask if I could do like one spray of the fragrance. And I remember I used to cherish, like when I did one spray of that fragrance at like 13 years old, I used to cherish that experience of smelling it on me. And I was in love with the fragrance. But of course, you know, being at that age, I didn't have the money to buy it. And can I just say, Tom Ford was very expensive back then. I feel like now, especially since you can find it on like Notino or like all kind of places. It's not even as expensive, but at least back then I don't think there was Notino, or I don't think there was Black Orchid, Tom Ford fragrances there, so you had to buy them from Sephora, and for those times these fragrances were very expensive. So of course I didn't have the money. My parents didn't want to purchase me such an expensive fragrance, but after I met my partner, you know, I started to chat with him, or I started to tell him all kinds of stories about fragrances, because that's when I truly discovered my passion for fragrances. And one day he surprised me with this fragrance. I remember I came home, and it was so nice because he almost did like a treasure hunt in a sense, you know, and at the end of that treasure hunt it was this fragrance and with something else beautifully wrapped, and I was so happy. So that's the story with this fragrance, and this is why I say I feel like I'm so emotionally connected with this fragrance that even though I don't wear it all the time, but I couldn't ever picture my fragrance collection without it. Like, it has its place on my shelves, you know, it has its, yeah, I don't know, guys. And I know so many people hate this fragrance. I get why. It can be a very obnoxious and overpowering scent profile, but I don't know, I feel like now looking back, I was always attracted to these types of smells, you know, because I remember even my cousins, they had beautiful fragrances back then, you know, like I said, they were older than me, but they have like feminine fragrances, you know, and I remember I was always very attracted to these types of like more unisex, darker, more mysterious fragrances, even though, let's just say, for a 13-year-old to enjoy how this one smells like, I don't know. Even when I smell it now, oh my god, like if I close my eyes, I remember the moment when I first smelled this fragrance. Like, I remember the room, I remember the makeup I was doing, I remember the dress she was wearing. I have a very strong connection with fragrances and with memories. Like, if I smell a scent, let's just say that I have worn during a specific period in my life, like legit, like if I close my eyes, it's almost like a movie in my mind, you know, where I see all the details. So yes, let's move on to the next fragrances. So for this next fragrance, I decided to include it in the honorable mention for the same reason as the previous one, as for Black Orchid. I love how it smells. Like, I don't wear it often. I feel like I have worn it once when I did sport. This I remember for sure. But besides that, I don't know if I wore it out, maybe once or twice. But this fragrance, this is called La Fille de Berlin. This is from Serge Lutens, and this fragrance, thank you so much. If you are watching, you know who you are, but if you are watching, thank you so much for sending me the decant. If it weren't for a specific person, I would have never discovered this fragrance. But you guys, when I smell this fragrance, it's almost like I've smelled it somewhere before. I don't know, even though I have never smelled it actually, but it feels like I've smelled it. I don't know, maybe in a previous life, I don't know. This fragrance is so beautiful. Now, all jokes aside, but this fragrance is so beautiful. This is all about rose, and I am a rose lover, like through and through. I love my roses. I feel like rose is my favorite note. If someone were to ask what's my favorite note in fragrances, it would be rose. But again, I'm very picky when it comes to rose-based fragrances, because I don't like those rose garden, after the rain, soft, dainty, or like slightly lemony roses, or like citrusy roses, or like powdery roses, or like fresh roses, ozonic roses. I don't know. I like roses in gourmand mixes, and I like overall a very full-bodied rose accord. I don't like those rose accords that lean ultra floral, you know. I like my rose accord to be rich, heavy, and with something sweet, to give it a little bit of sweetness. And if it's with something spicy as well, then it's like, it's for me, that scent is for me. But this fragrance, I will try to show you the color. Let me just quickly wipe the bottle before I show you the color. So this is the fragrance. Can you see the color of this fragrance? Now imagine this kind of roses. Imagine you were to put them in a pot with a little bit of water and with a jar of honey, but like only the rose petals. You were to put lots of them in a pot, like I've said, with a little bit of water and a jar of honey, and you would let that mixture to boil and to turn into somewhat like a paste. This is how this smells like. This is made around a gorgeous rose accord that feels very full-bodied and rich and seductive and sensual and almost like a little bit witchy here and there. Yeah, it smells so beautiful. It smells, I don't know, this is the kind of fragrance that you don't want a lot of people to have the pleasure of smelling it very close to you. You know what I mean? At least I would wear this fragrance, I don't know, definitely not when I'm in the mood to have a very loud fragrance. This is not the one, not because it couldn't face those occasions, let's just say, but because this has something that's very, like, somehow carnal about it and very intimate, you know. It's almost like yeah, I don't know how to describe this, but it does have something very carnal about it, and this is why I love it so much. And you also have the honey there. The honey is slightly syrupy, but it smells legit like a paste of all these nuances. But let it sit, because first time I got this fragrance and I smelled it, it almost had something that in the opening smelled slightly green and mentholated, but the more it sits, the sweeter it gets, and that sweeter core develops even more, and the rose becomes even more full-bodied and even more robust. So this next fragrance is actually an oil that I discovered recently, but you guys, ever since I discovered it, I have been obsessed with it. I love it. I wear it in my hair, I mix it with my body lotions, I apply it as a base when I wear other fragrances. This oil is called 28 Flavors. It's from the collection called Oud Arabi, and it's from the brand Rogue Perfumes. This is a brand that you can find on the Dubai collection or on the brand's website if you're based in the UK. This is so affordable. It's 12 euros. And it smells so good, you guys. This is an inspiration of the fragrance called Vanilla 28 from Kayali. And if you know Vanilla 28, it smells delicious. It's a very sugary, deep, rich, sweet, gourmand vanilla. It doesn't smell very faint like a cupcake. It's a vanilla that feels very full-bodied again. It feels very strong and very textured. I don't know, yet it smells delicious at the same time. You know, it doesn't lean very balsamic, let's say. So yeah, this oil smells just like it, you guys. It smells just like it, and I cannot tell you, like, let me just show you. Keep in mind, I wore it almost every day. Maybe since I got it, I skipped 1 or 2 days where I didn't wear any fragrance, or I was testing other fragrances, but this is now the fragrance that I apply at night time before I go to bed. I apply it, I don't apply a lot of it, honestly. I do a little bit here, you know, I rub my wrist together, then I do a little bit here. Again, I rub it here gently, a little bit here, and then I move all my hair in the front, and I do here a little bit in the back of my neck, right where your hairline meets your neck, you know, that space. So a little bit goes in my hair and a little bit stays on my neck after I massage it in. And I do a little bit of my chest as well. On my chest as well. You know what my partner said that this fragrance smells like? He said that it smells like we have this, I don't know, we have this like childhood, like this very like nostalgic childhood dish here in Romania. I generally don't know how it's called in English, but I will insert here a picture. Basically, yeah, I will insert here the name of how it is and the picture with it, so you can, but it's sweet. But he said that it smells just like that, with lots of vanilla. And I can see why. That was his favorite dessert when he was a child, so you can imagine he loves how this fragrance smells like. Again, I decided to include it in the honorable mention, not that clearly, this one, I want to purchase it again and again and again and again. I am waiting for it to be back in stock, and I want to buy backups of it because I love it. It's the kind of oil that works layered with absolutely anything. And by the way, I have a review for it in case you're interested. So yeah, like I've said, I decided to include it in the honorable mention category because I just recently got it for like 2 weeks, maybe not even. So this is why I was like, you know what, let me not include it in the top 10 for life, because there I have some fragrances that I'm like emotionally connected with, you know, but I still wanted to include it. Now, let me move a little bit quicker. This next fragrance, honestly, I feel low-key embarrassed to show you the bottle because the bottle, clearly the bottle has been through life, has been through a lot. Honestly now, I could have showed you a new bottle because I have 4 backups of this one. Yeah, I know, me being me. But again, it's a fragrance that I love, but because it is discontinued, I added it here instead of the actual top 10 for life. But I was like, you know what, let me just show you the real bottle that I actually use and how it looks by now. This, you guys, this is... let me just show you a close-up of the bottle. I hope you can see. This is Alien Musc Mysterieux. This is from Mugler. This fragrance, you guys. This in 2018, this was my scent, like my signature scent. Again, I feel like it's another fragrance that smells like me, but can I just say how bold I was? Because I remember it was like the hottest days of summer and I used to overspray this fragrance like crazy without a single trace of anything, I don't know. I used to rock this fragrance, like I used to wear it without thinking too much about it. I remember I loved it. This was a gift from my partner. Can I just say that he bought me amazing fragrances? Like he really understands my taste when it comes to fragrances. And I feel like if there was a person in my life who really could gift me fragrances blindly, like without me telling them what to buy, it would be my partner, honestly. This fragrance, I am so happy to have it in my collection, and I am so, again, I'm so emotionally connected to this fragrance. I remember when I smell it now, I remember Egypt, 2018 Egypt, or was it 2007? No, I think 2018, or I'm not very good with time, honestly, so I have to like pause and then go back in my mind. But I remember it was like 38 degrees Celsius. I was rocking this fragrance like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is a very heavy and heady take on the DNA of Alien. It's very spicy. You have the same jasmine, but here it's actually a little bit more warm. It's not as cold, it's a bit more warm. This smells more, I feel like it's more Middle Eastern leaning, you know, it's more opulent, it's more, slightly more obnoxious, you know, but it's a very unique scent profile. To me, when it comes to designer fragrances, honestly, I cannot believe, first of all, that this is a designer fragrance, because it doesn't smell like one. Especially now, seeing the kind of fragrances that designer brands come out with, this didn't feel designer back then, it doesn't feel designer back now. Seems like I will have to cut a lot of parts from this video, but it's okay. Yeah, this is very spicy, but it feels like something that's very warm and spicy, with a very like almost like a rough, dry woody accord in the background, and with a hefty dose of musk. The musk here can feel very, not animalic per se, because I don't know if I find it animalic now, but it's heavy, and again, I feel like you need to have the taste for this fragrance. And let me just tell you, I don't think this is the kind of fragrance that lots of people would enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know, but see, I don't know, I gravitate towards this kind of fragrances, and I love their smell. Now, with this in mind, please don't think that this is like one of my most worn fragrances, especially now. I wear it again only here and there. Can I just say, maybe this is because I'm more grown up now, but I don't overspray it as much as I used to back in the day. I don't know, I feel like back in the day I was like so carefree, you know, I was like spraying my fragrance, walking with like a nuclear scent bubble around me without giving two damns. Now I'm more mindful, in all honesty, and I don't spray it as much because I know it can be very heavy, and it is very heavy. But yeah, this fragrance, you guys, this fragrance, oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. This next fragrance, it's a fragrance that I discovered it from a YouTube video. I don't even remember who did it, but it was like many years ago, like many years ago. I saw a review for it, and then I looked everywhere locally where I live. I couldn't find it, but I had a cousin who lives in Germany. I still have. She's still alive. I have a cousin who lives in Germany, and I kindly asked her if she could buy this one and then sent it to me, and she did. And this was one of my first fragrances, like my first, not even grown-up purchases, because I wasn't very grown-up back then. I was pretty young, I feel like 21. Was I 21? I don't know if I was 21, honestly. But I cherish this fragrance so much. Again, this is a rose-based fragrance, but it's mixed with lots of resinous balsamic facets. And when I smell it, you know what it smells like? Imagine you were to take myrrh, this kind of myrrh. You were to take this myrrh with benzoin and maybe some few other resins, and you would legit put them to melt onto one of those things that you put them to melt on, you know, I don't remember the name out of my mind. And then as they would melt, they would exude this sweetness, first of all, but a very resinous balsamic sweetness. They would exude this fullness, and they would exude this almost like warming up, like this heat, fiery heat sensation from that, you know. And then you would drizzle on top some rose absolute. The rose here, it feels so rich, it legit feels like rose absolute. This is how concentrated it is, and it legit smells like this color. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it legit smells red, it smells passionate, it smells fiery, it smells volcanic in a way, you know. It smells beautiful, it smells, yeah. Again, this is this is a fragrance that I am, again, very emotionally connected with. I don't wear it the most now, but this one I honestly don't wear because it's discontinued. Not that I don't love it or anything. But yeah, sometimes in all honesty I miss wearing it, and I do a few sprays here and there, but I don't know, this is the kind of fragrance that I want to treasure it, you know. And also, in all honesty, this one as well, because I don't want to purchase the current batches of this one. No thank you. Like, so let's continue with the last two fragrances that I have, but let's continue with the fragrance that, again, unfortunately it is discontinued. This is from Ricci. This is L'Extase Rose Absolue. This fragrance is so beautiful, you guys. It's such a beautiful take on rose. And if you're ever curious if you're ever curious to experience a beautiful representation that does justice to benzoin in fragrances, this is one. But you have to appreciate the rose. But the rose accord here, again, this is made around rose. The rose accord does have slight nuances, slight facets, but the rose is the main thing that you will smell. But what the benzoin here adds to the overall rose accord, not only that it adds lots of fullness and lots of richness to the scent, but again, it makes it feel like it exudes this warming up sensation, almost this like heat. It makes it feel very, very, like not even very, like ultra warm. And this is what I feel like makes this fragrance stand out. Again, I feel like this is very similar to, look, I don't want to say very similar, but this does share some similar facets to Oud Satin Mood from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. However, this one to me is more rose forward. While the other one, you have the rose, candied violet, and the smell of baby powder, you know, like that Johnson & Johnson baby powder with the benzoin in the background and everything. But this is more rose forward. This is made around the rose accord, and the rose accord is the one that shines the most. Whereas in the other one, the rose accord, even though it's present and it's definitely strong and it's definitely one of the first things you notice, is not the main focus. I feel like it's the rose with the other nuances. For this fragrance, again, I have a backup bottle of it, but after that, I don't know. But this, you know, when I love to wear it in summer. In summer, it works so beautiful with like a dress. During the night, it works amazing. I remember I wore this one to an event. I had like a black dress, but it was like an event during the daytime. But I smelled so beautiful. Honestly, I couldn't stop smelling myself. Like, this is how much I loved how it smells in the summer. In cold weather, I enjoy it as well. But there's just something about this DNA in summer that makes it, I don't know, guys, it makes it feel very, very feminine, but very, very romantic at the same time, very sensual at the same time. I don't know, yeah, this in summer, it shines in a whole different light, I feel like. And the last fragrance in the honorable mention category, this is a fragrance that lots of you have it, and I know lots of you love it. Some of you don't love it, but it's okay, we all have our own taste. This next one is Majd al Sultan from Asdaaf. You guys, this fragrance, I remember when I first started my YouTube channel, which feels honestly like ages ago. I don't even know if I still have that video posted, but don't go and watch it, okay, because it's very old. But I remember mentioning this fragrance in lots of videos because I was mesmerized by it, and I still am. I still love it. And someone left me a comment, and that person said something like, oh, you mentioned this fragrance in almost every other video. Let me just check it out to see if it's worth the hype you give it, or something like this. And after that, the person came back, and let me just tell you, she loved it. She loved it. She loved it. And I feel like this fragrance kind of low-key, it got viral throughout the years, you know. So many people, this is by far my #1 most purchased recommendation. Like, everybody who purchased this one, the majority of the people gave me amazing feedback on the fragrance, like 96.05. Like 96. Of course, there were some people that were like maybe not as impressed, or maybe they were not vibing with this fragrance, but the majority of the feedback that I got from you was incredible, and it still is incredible, because I still receive feedback that some people maybe who discover my videos just now, and they go back and they watch my videos and they hear me mentioning this one again and again, they buy it and they're very happy with their purchase. Honestly, now I don't feel like Asdaaf knew what they did when they released this fragrance, because to me, it's incredible how expensive this fragrance smells like, and it's not, you guys. I mean, it's like, what, $15, 15 euros, something like this. But it's incredible how expensive and luxurious it smells. It smells sophisticated. It doesn't smell like an affordable fragrance. And it's a very, again, it's a very like bold and unapologetic fragrance. It's that kind of fragrance that when you want something that will make a statement, this fragrance makes a statement. And honestly, I should have included it in the most complimented fragrances, because this was again one of my most complimented fragrances, but I forgot, because at the moment, you know how I said in that video that certain fragrances, I associate them with certain periods in my life, and it's almost like I want this fragrance to be emblematic for that time. I associate this fragrance with the beginning of my YouTube channel, and in a sense, even though I still love how it smells and I still wear it from time to time, but I don't know, it's almost like I want to keep it that way, you know, like when I smell this fragrance, I want to associate the beginning of my journey here on YouTube, almost like 3 years ago, I feel like, in spring or in February. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, I've changed so much, I feel like, as a person since I started. Oh my God, you guys, what a journey it has been. And not only here on YouTube, but like in my personal life as well. These 3 years, holy yeah. A lot of things, but they're like beautiful 3 years. So yeah, this is another fragrance and we are done. Now let's finally move on to the top 10 for life. Yeah, so meanwhile I went and grabbed my coffee and I went to grab this fragrance, because I don't know how I do it, but I always forget to bring a fragrance. Yeah, this fragrance, this top 10 is in no particular order. I love all these fragrances. I want to have all of them in my collection, just like the previous ones. However, if, God forbid, something were to happen to my collection, God forbid, knock on wood, you know, this is the first fragrance I would repurchase. And I know this one, like, if I feel it in my heart. This is Arabians Tonka from Montale. You guys, I cannot thank enough the people who recommended me to try this fragrance. I cannot thank them enough, because this was love at first sniff. I loved it then, I love it even more now, because I have so many amazing memories with it. Like I've said, I really don't have a lot of it left, and honestly I got some feedback that this one doesn't perform that well, and now I'm scared. I'm like, I hope they did not water the formula down, because then it would be a shame, honestly. It would be such a shame, because this was brilliant just like how it was. I don't get it, but hopefully they did not. This is from 2021 and I have a backup from 2022. But this is a sugar bomb, you guys. Sugar with saffron, with oak moss. But imagine you have a sugary accord that wraps all the other notes. So you have the oak moss that adds a slight dry, green, earthy nuance with the woody accord, like an wood-like accord, you know. It doesn't feel barnyard, but in the opening it feels present. Then it moves into a woody accord. But you have the oak moss with the woody accord, with saffron, but then you have lots of sugar that envelop all the other notes. So it's almost like you smell all the other notes through that sweet sugary lens. This is Arabian Tonka to me. Oh, I just love it, honestly. I don't have enough words to tell you how much I love this fragrance. And like I've said, if, God forbid, knock on wood, something were to happen to my fragrances, or let's just say not something negative, maybe, I don't know, I would like move out of country last minute, I don't know, and I would have to buy one fragrance, this is it. So these next two fragrances are fragrances that I discovered, both of them recently, since the end of the summer. One I discovered in August, one in October, but I love them both and I wear them both and I wear them so much. And again, now I have memories associated with them, and I realize now during this top 10 for life that I couldn't picture my collection without them. Now it's either one or the other, but honestly I feel like I will truly know which one I would like to repurchase only after I will finish both. The first one is Mula from Byron and the second one is Zenobia from Tomavicci. Now why I put them together is because to me both share some similarities. Both have a very similar base, but then they go in their different directions. Like what they have on top of that base, you know, if it makes sense, it's different mix. Here you have lemon dipped in powdered sugar, so it's slightly lemony, very sugary in the opening, very sweet, but a gourmand lemony accord in a sense. With blackcurrant, you get more of the blackcurrant in the opening, and it adds this slightly fruity, tangy, slightly soft green nuance. And all this sit on a base, oh my god, on a base of caramel and vanilla. But the vanilla here, it feels very buttery, it feels very smooth. I don't know, the whole fragrance, it feels very buttery smooth in a sense. And the more it develops, the more smooth it gets. And also from time to time, you do get this like soft suede. I don't know if it comes from the suede accord or if it comes from the woody accord, but you do get something that's like very soft and dry and muted there in the background. Either it's soft and woody, slightly soft suede accord, you know. but it's more in the background to give a little bit of complexity. This fragrance smells so playful, so flirty, so feminine, so delicious. I don't know, I love how it smells. Honestly, I love how it smells, and I wore it so much lately. And this next fragrance is again a fragrance that I love. I love it since I got it from the brand. Both of these I received them from the brand, and I'm very thankful for that. I love this one as well, you guys. This is Mula. Now, remember how I said that both share a similar base. However, this one feels a little bit more translucent. To me here, you have the same caramel, but here the caramel is even more dense and thick and robust, whereas the caramel here, it's a little bit less dense, still very sweet. But the caramel here, in the base, you also have something that smells like that. I will insert the photo. You know how this thing smells like? This like hard candy, sugary texture, you know, like a hard candy sugar. So you do get this texture, but you also get a slight translucency throughout the fragrance, and this is the aspect that makes Mula so naughty in a sense. I don't know, so playful. Both of these fragrances, like if I were to tell you what energy they give me, like fun, extroverted, feminine, sweet, playful, naughty. Little bit provocative as well, but tasteful, very tasteful, but very sweet at the same time. And this one, let's just say if this one has lemon and blackcurrant, this one has strawberry. Strawberry, you guys, I love the smell of strawberry. I love how this fragrance smells like. I love both of these fragrances. And again, these are fragrances, and this scent family in particular, look, I don't want to say they smell alike, because they don't, but they do share some similarities. But to me, this is something that I've just discovered lately, like I've said, in the last few months, but I have fallen in love with this scent family, and one or the other or both, I want to have them in my collection forever. So this next fragrance is an oldie but a goldie. This is a fragrance. Look, there are two fragrances, but I treat them as a standalone fragrance because I always wear them together. This is Shaghaf Oud and Oud Aswad from Swiss Arabian. Oh my god, these two fragrances. Can I just say something? When I did my first layering video, or I don't even know in what video I said for the first time to layer these two together, but all the women and the men who layered them together, they came back and they told me the exact same thing, that it smells like $1,000,000, that it smells so expensive, so beautiful, so luxurious and so royal, that this is the best combo ever. Like, this legit smells like $1,000,000. And I said it in one video and I will say it again, if Swiss Arabian were to do a fragrance that smells like these two mixed together, I feel like it will be one of their bestsellers, honestly. This is your very realistic, incensey, rosy fragrance. In the opening, it does smell a little bit different, let's just say, but as it starts to develop, especially from the heart till the dry down, this one legit smells like you are burning a rose scented incense stick, and you lean in to smell it and you get that like dry, ashy, incensey feel in the back of your throat. You have that same feeling here, but imagine with beautiful rose smell. It's almost like I've said, you know, like the incensey rose scented. Very realistic, very beautiful. Now in the opening, like I've said, it's a bit more complex, but mainly this is a rosy incensey fragrance, and this is a rose fragrance, but a very gourmand leaning rose accord. Here you have an oud accord with a sweet rose with praline and saffron, and the overall fragrance, it feels very sweet, very warm, very full, very dense, very heavy. Keep in mind I have the version with the Arabic writing on it, so I cannot talk about how the current version smells like, but these two together, if you have them in your collection, please layer them, and I'm telling you, you will smell amazing. This, cannot tell you how many compliments I got on this combo, you guys. I cannot tell you how many compliments I got on this layering combo. It's by far one of my most complimented ever fragrances, and interestingly enough, it's complimented by people who don't really like Middle Eastern fragrances. But yeah, and not just by them, by strangers. Like, even when I was traveling and I was wearing these two together, like, so many people asked me about these two fragrances, and I see why. They smell different, and look, if, let's just say, maybe now there are fragrances with this DNA, but if you have this one and you use this one as a base, as a reference I use this one as a base, and you come with this one as a topper, no one will smell like you, honestly. And you will smell sweet yet heavy, yet sweet, yet slightly spicy, yet slightly gourmand, with rose, with slight incense there. So it's something that smells very complex and multifaceted, and it smells like very well done robust fragrance to me. Now this next fragrance is a fragrance that this is my second bottle of it. This is called Amber Oud Tobacco Edition from Al Haramain. This is a fragrance that, again, like what's new? I'm emotionally connected to this fragrance. This fragrance was my scent of autumn winter 2022. I finished a full bottle of that fragrance in a few months. I feel like this is my second bottle. I have used it, as you can see, but at the moment it's not one of my most used fragrances because I'm obsessed with Zenobia at the moment, and this is the one that I use, or Arabians Tonka. But I have actually worn it here and there, but not when I'm going out with my friends, but I don't know, when I'm like going to do the groceries or like I'm running some quick errands. But this is a beautiful inspiration of tobacco vanille, and honestly I'm so curious because I saw Dubai collection has, you know how I told you about 28 flavors from Rogue Perfumes. They have an oil inspiration of tobacco vanille, and I was thinking to get that one as well, but it's out of stock at the moment, so I'm waiting for them to bring it back in stock. Oh, by the way, if they brought it back in stock when I'm posting the video, if they will be back in stock, I will add here on the screen, and I will leave the website down below so you can check the oils out. They are amazing. Like I've tried only 3. I'm planning to try way more, but all the 3 that I've tried, they are amazing. They last very well, they smell very luxurious, like you cannot go wrong with those. And they have lots of inspirations of Kilian, of Mango Skin from Wilhelm Perfumery, BDK, Tom Ford, what else? They have another niche brand, what was it? They have lots of them, like feel free to check out the website. So yeah, this fragrance, this is a beautiful tobacco fragrance, like dry, sweet tobacco, with like honey and spices. Now look, something very interesting that people told me. Again, the majority of the feedback that I got on this fragrance was amazing, but I've lately, like let's just say maybe in the last 8 months, I received, I feel like 3 comments, because I read my comments and I reply to my comments, you know, and I received like 3 comments from 3 different people, and they were not like in a mean way, but they were just like telling me that to them it smells medicinal, and I'm very like, I don't get the medicinal aspect, so I'm thinking like, did they change the formula? Like, but actually some of them, after I replied to them, some of them told me that after they let it sit for a while, the medicinal facet was gone. For others, I don't know, because they haven't updated me. But yeah, I don't know, honestly, I get nothing medicinal from this fragrance. To me, it's like sweet, spicy tobacco is delicious. It's again a fragrance that I feel like it smells like me, you know, like people close to me associate me by this fragrance by now. Now, this next fragrance, again, same like Mula and Zenobia, it's a similar situation. I have 2 fragrances, hold on, because the hair here. I have 2 fragrances, love both how they smell. Like they do share some similarities, but they also have their differences. However, I don't know, I couldn't choose, but I feel like I will know my answer after I will finish both. Or after I will finish this one, to be more specific, because this one I've already finished a bottle of it. These next 2 fragrances, this is called Sacred Palace from Perfumes, and this is Tresor La Nuit from Lancôme. Now, Tresor La Nuit, you guys, since 2019, when I got my first bottle as a gift for my birthday, it was a staple in my collection. I had Tresor La Nuit, then I was very curious. I had a time in my life when I was very curious to try inspirations of it, to find a really beautiful inspiration. I've tried Jazab Gold from Ard El Zafran. I've tried Taste of Kiss from Taste of Kiss. I filmed a video where I was trying a fragrance from Khatlaj, and in that video I kept mixing the name because it's Aura Kiss of Rose, and I was thinking Taste of Kiss. And I didn't remember in that video where I knew Taste of Kiss from. Yes, it's that fragrance from La Rive. That was an inspiration to this one. I've also tried Modeste 2 from Afnan for women. That is an amazing inspiration, but to me it's not even an inspiration, that is like a whole standalone fragrance, you know. To me, this, you guys, this smells so fruity, so sweet, with depth. You have here different types of fruity accords. You have something that smells like sweet citruses, with something that smells like sweet tropical fruity nuances, on a base of thick, rich caramel with a little bit of patchouli, with a little bit of incense in the background. Honestly, if you look at the notes, you have listed like coffee, licorice, lots of things. But to me, this is a fruity patchouli with lots of caramel and with lots of different fruity facets. You don't just have like one fruity accord, you have different types of fruity facets in the fragrance that contribute to the overall complexity of the fragrance, I feel like. Look, to me, this fragrance is a staple. I had times when I actually got bored of it. But then again, I crave it, you know, I cannot not have it in my collection. But then after I found this fragrance again was sent to me by Perfumes when I started to test their fragrances. Basically, they reached out to me many months ago, and they sent me this fragrance as well as lots of other fragrances. And you guys, that brand, I know it's not widely available, but if you have access to that brand, test their fragrances, because they have some beautiful creations and impeccable from the presentation to the smell. Like it looks and it feels luxurious and it smells luxurious. But to me, in case you haven't watched the video for this fragrance, I said that this is a fusion between Tresor La Nuit and Shaghaf Oud, but with a development of its own. I feel like what you have from Tresor La Nuit is the sweet citruses mixed with a slight tropical fruity facet. What you have from Shaghaf Oud is the rose accord, but just the rose accord, very similar rose accord. Then imagine you have these two nuances, you blend them together and you add there like a creamy lactonic base and almost something that smells like melted caramel, like a cold melted caramel, you know. It smells so beautiful because it's slightly cold, slightly sweet, very creamy, slightly lactonic. And then as it develops, it keeps changing, but the lactonic facet shines even more, you know. This one in the opening, it's the sweet citruses and the tropical fruity nuances that shine the most, with all the other nuances in the background. As you reach the heart, it's the rose and that like lactonic accord that shine the most. And as you reach the dry down, the rose moves in the background. And it's the lactonic accord that shines the most, and now you start to detect this like soft, slight, woodsy facet. It's beautiful fragrance. So yes, these two, I don't know exactly, and also that one from Afnan. I feel like one of these three, or I don't know because it's hard, especially when they're both similar, you know. This is why I put them in the same position, let's say, because ideally I would like to, I don't know, maybe I would keep both. Who knows, guys. Next fragrance is this fragrance. Oh my god, this is Rosewood from Ajmal, you guys. This fragrance, I've had it again way before I started my YouTube channel, and I still love it. Look, to me now, if you are interested in trying out a fragrance that smells timeless, that smells classy, it smells definitely Middle Eastern leaning, but without being too challenging, you know, without being too obnoxious. This fragrance smells refined, it smells very sophisticated, very not proper, but it smells expensive, but in an elegant way, you know. It doesn't smell expensive in a sense that you can smell it from like 10 blocks away, you know, so it's like ultra strong. To me, this is a refined fragrance. This gives me the feeling that I don't know, like old money type of fragrance. I don't know, even though I don't like to associate fragrances with aesthetics necessarily, but if you are looking for a fragrance that smells Middle Eastern but without being too Middle Eastern, you can wear it. Look, I wore this one in summer, honestly, and I loved it. But you can wear it all year round, daytime, nighttime, signature scent worthy. It's complex without being too complex. It has that je ne sais quoi in a sense, but again, I feel like the key here is that it's balanced, so it's not too much to the point where you buy it and then you can only wear it like 2 times a year when it's like very cold outside and I don't know what, you know. It's not that kind of fragrance. It's a fragrance that if you have a taste for slightly heavier fragrances, I find it more than wearable. But again, to me, this exudes this elegance about it. It's not a fragrance that is not royal, not opulent, not that energy. This is elegant, you know. This is refined, this is elegant, this is classy. So yeah, this smells again, I love this fragrance. I'm very connected to this fragrance. This smells, imagine this beautiful, deep, warm yet rich woody accord that adds almost this like warmth to the fragrance, but this slight dryness at the same time. But still, it's dry, but it feels very robust, if you could imagine. This is the oud accord you have here. The oud is not funky, it doesn't have a barnyard nuance, doesn't have an acidic, fermented, Hindi style of oud type of nuance. I find the oud accord more than wearable, honestly. And also, I feel like the key with this fragrance, or like the word that I would use to describe it, it's dry. The woody accord is dry, you have a rose accord that is dry, you have a spicy accord here as well. But the spices, do you know how they smell like to me? It's almost like you go to your spice cabinet and you open that cabinet and you lean in to grab one type of spice, but as you lean in and as you inhale, you get different scents from all those spices combined, you know? I feel like it's that type of abstract spicy accord that feels very, yeah, I don't know, it feels like legit that whiff from your spice cabinet. So a little bit of everything without anything that shines in particular, you know. But again, very balanced, very well dosed, you guys. This fragrance exudes elegance, if you were to ask me. And this is the type of fragrance that smells good now. It will smell good in 10 years. This doesn't go in and out of style. This to me is in a whole category. This to me is in a whole category of its own. So yes, end of sentence. Now, this next fragrance, you guys, so many men got triggered when they heard that I was wearing it. And here am I rocking it and receiving compliments left and right when I'm wearing it. So this just goes to show, wear whatever you feel like wearing and don't give two damns about what people tell you, honestly. But not just like, oh, I just say that I don't give two damns. No, like actually don't give two damns, you know. This is Red Tobacco from Mancera. This fragrance, you guys. This smells like Christmas. I don't know why it smells like Christmas to me, but it smells like Christmas. And first time I smelled it, this was a blind buy for me, but the first time I smelled it, it reminded me of like a beautiful moment in my life when I was a kid with my family during Christmas, you know. It smells, this is again another tobacco-based fragrance, as you can see, or as you saw, or if you have been watching my videos, I love tobacco in fragrances. Tobacco is an accord that I love a lot. It smells, it just adds, and it just gives this beautiful depth and richness, and it gives something else to the fragrance, especially when it's paired with sweet spices. This is paired with sweet spices, but keep in mind the spices here, they are sweet, but they are sharp, you know, they are very, yeah, sharp, especially in the opening. I feel like the nutmeg here in the opening smells like a slight essential oil, like nutmeg essential oil, you know. But with the tobacco here, it feels slightly dry, but also from time to time it has this almost like damp undertone because of the patchouli, like slightly damp and green. Look, I know when I say this, it doesn't sound the best, but please, if you are ever curious, just get a sample, try this fragrance for yourself. Personally, I love it. I only wear it in cold weather, but I love it. This one, like when it's very cold outside with like a really thick coat on, like a black turtleneck, like you're going for like mulled wine with your friends, or like for hot chocolate, or you're going out during the nighttime to a restaurant, this is the kind of fragrance that I would wear. Of course, this is not the kind of fragrance that I wear like for a date night or anything like this, but this is one of my favorite fragrances. Like I couldn't picture my fragrance collection without it. You don't need a lot of sprays, like less is more, performance is nuclear. Oh, and by the way, if you are looking for an inspiration, Paris Corner has a beautiful inspiration of the fragrance. It's called the Wild and Tobacco, and I have a review for it. This next one, oh you guys, this is called Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli. This is from Kayali. This is my favorite fragrance from Kayali. This, I love this fragrance, honestly. I love this fragrance. It's, sorry for the noise, this fragrance, from the first moment I got my travel spray, I was very curious about this fragrance, so I was very mindful, you know. I bought first a travel spray to test it. I have fallen in love. I didn't even finish that travel spray, and I couldn't help, and I bought myself a full bottle. This is how much I love it. To me, this smells like the most beautiful decadent take on patchouli with gourmand facets. You have here a patchouli that's wrapped almost in certain balsamic facets, so it's very full, it's very dense, slightly dark, but it's not your earthy type of patchouli like soil or anything like this, you know, like the one you have in Black Orchid. It's a patchouli that has been sweetened it up, you know, hence the name sugared patchouli. You have here the sweetness from a vanilla pod, so it's like that balsamic, sweet, slightly funky vanillic sweetness with something that smells like brown sugar and something that smells like creme brulee. So it's a very beautiful, almost like a gourmand take on patchouli, but like balsamic take on patchouli, because that's the base with gourmand facets, you know. So it's a beautifying patchouli. It's not an ultra raw patchouli, and it definitely doesn't smell like essential oil or anything like this. But please keep in mind, again, you need to have the taste for this fragrance, because otherwise, yeah, I don't know. If you don't have a taste for this kind of fragrances, you could, I don't know, I guess you could get something slightly earthy, but look, to me, this is not challenging at all. I wore it in warm weather, you guys. It smells amazing. Summer, spring, autumn, winter, daytime, nighttime, layered, not layered. Yeah, I just love it, honestly. I love it. I couldn't picture my collection without it. Just like with all the fragrances that I have smelled, and that I have showed you so far, I couldn't picture my collection without them. These are all fragrances that for one reason or another, I don't know, like I feel a connection to them, you know, and I feel like they suit my taste and my style and my mood and my vibe and my energy, and they suit me, you know, and I love them. Okay, so I have the next fragrance here. This is Noir for Women from Tom Ford. Now, I don't know exactly if this is discontinued or not, because on certain websites I can still find it. So I don't know if I should have included in the discontinued part or not. This smells so beautiful. This smells like condensed milk with cardamom in it, with powdered ginger, with like dried orange peel and mandarin orange peel, but like dried. You have this like almost like bittersweet citrusy vibe. Not refreshing, it's not that type of citrus, it's more like a dried citrus peel type of citrus, you know, like orange, mandarin, orange, clementine, that type of feel, with like powdered cardamom, powdered ginger, like condensed milk, and a slight dusty sandalwood in the background, and a slight balsamic undertone. Ah, this smells so beautiful, and again, it's a sweet fragrance, but with deeper facets, you know, it's not just a sweet fragrance, you know, it doesn't smell just like, I don't know, like whipped cream or anything like this. It's a very complex fragrance, it's a very full-bodied fragrance, it's a fragrance that again is warm, it's sweet, it has depth, it has richness, it has complexity, and also if you have it in your collection, it leaves a lot of room to layer it with different scent families. So like I said, if you have these two, layer them. I also layered it with Sajaya Gold. They smelled so beautiful together. I don't have words. So yeah, if you have it, try to layer it. Now look, this fragrance, I have to include it because I love it. The problem is that I found a fragrance recently. By the way, this is Instant Crush from Mancera. Love how it smells. It smells like a gingerbread house with saffron and a slight translucency, oak mossy, amber wood type of smell, you know. Slightly vanillic, slightly powdery, but it smells molecular in a way, and it smells like a gingerbread house. I love it. Now, the thing is, this one I already have a backup bottle of it, so I know that I want to have it in my collection for the long run. I recently discovered a fragrance from Afnan called Amber Rhythm from the Addict series. That it smells like this one mixed with khamra, and now I love this one as well. So I don't know, you guys, I don't know, I love the smell of this one, by the way. I don't know which one I would like to have it in my collection. Look, I will go for this one simply because, yeah, I had it for longer times and I didn't get tired of it. But this one, don't skip on this fragrance. If you find it for a good price, try it. I would highly encourage you to try it. Try a sample, try a decant, don't blind buy it. But if you like this fragrance, think the DNA of this one mixed with khamra, more molecular actually, you get, you know what it smells like, honestly. It smells like a whiff of Instant Crush with a whiff of khamra, and you have Amber Rhythm. To me, this is how it smells like. Oh my god, you guys, so those were the fragrances. It was so hard to choose, even though I definitely went over 10. But you know, truth is, I couldn't just choose 10 fragrances because like I've said, I was so lucky to find many fragrances that, I don't know, I feel like they represent me and they smell like me now, you know, like people associate those fragrances with me. I love to smell them. I couldn't picture my fragrance collection without them. So I was like, why only share 10 when I have like 20? Of course, I could have included more. I could have included Red Velvet as well from Maison Asrar. I love that fragrance. I could have included Garam from Junaid Perfumes. I love that fragrance, but I feel like these are the kind of fragrances that I had them for a long time. I wore them a lot. I have beautiful memories associated with them. I still love them. I still wear them, some more than others, but others are for like sentimental. Others have sentimental value to them, you know. I would love to read what are your top 10 fragrances for life, or even top 20, honestly, or top whatever you feel like what are those fragrances that like you couldn't just picture your fragrance collection without them. Like, what are those fragrances? You know, those fragrances that they make your soul smell, they make you happy, like every time you wear them, like they awaken something within you. I would love to know what are the fragrances in your case. So yes, thank you so much for watching. Also, thank you to all those people who recommended me to do an updated video. Honestly, I had a very good time doing this video because as I was like smelling them and as I was like preparing for the video, I don't know, like I was just reminded of so many beautiful memories in my life, because I told you I have a very strong connection with scent in general. And yeah, It was so beautiful, says. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram. Here is my handle. If you want to tell me anything, please put it in the comment section and I promise that I will get back to you. I will see you in my next video, but until then, thank you so much for watching and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye, guys.